You're dreaming, but something feels wrong. The world around you is detailed, sharp, almost painfully clear, and yet there is no color. A white sky hangs over a black horizon. Faces appear in gradients of gray. Blood is not red, fire is not orange, the trees are not green. Everything looks like an old film projected inside your skull. You wake up confused. You know you can see colors in real life. You remember colors from other dreams. So why did this one unfold entirely in black and white? For some people, this isn't rare. It's their normal dream world. Shades of gray instead of full-spectrum reality. No vivid blue oceans, no golden sunlight, just monochrome consciousness. Tonight, we step into a strange and haunting question. Why do some dreams happen in black and white? Is it a glitch in the brain? A leftover imprint from old television and cinema? A psychological symbol of emotional numbness? Or a clue about how the mind constructs reality when the lights go out? This is not just about color. It's about perception, memory, culture, and the way your brain edits the world you see, even when you are fully asleep. Welcome to the phenomenon of black and white dreams, a place where the mind dreams in grayscale, and every missing color might be hiding a deeper truth. Most of us are used to thinking of dreams as intensely colorful, saturated skies, vibrant cities, surreal landscapes glowing with impossible hues. Yet, a surprising number of people report dreaming entirely, or frequently, in black and white. No blue, no red, no green. Just gradients of gray, like a memory of an old movie. For some, these monochrome dreams are rare and unsettling. For others, they are so normal that they don't even realize anything is missing until someone asks, "What color was it?" And they suddenly understand there were no colors at all. The phenomenon of black and white dreaming raises a series of intriguing questions. If our waking world is almost always in color, why would the brain sometimes strip it away while we sleep? Is it a technical limitation of the visual system in dreams? Is it influenced by culture and media, like growing up with black and white television? Or does the lack of color reflect something psychological? Mood, emotional tone, or how the mind encodes certain experiences? Historically, reports of black and white dreams were far more common in the mid-20th century, especially among people who grew up watching black and white films and early television. Later generations, immersed in color media, reported fewer monochrome dreams. This pattern led some researchers to suspect that the brain borrows its dream aesthetic from the visual language it is most used to. But the story doesn't end there. Black and white dreams are also reported in situations of emotional suppression, stress, and psychological detachment, where life feels drained or flat. For some individuals, these dreams are associated with phases of depression or burnout, periods in which the world itself seems duller. Others experience them during particularly reflective, analytical, or memory-driven dreams, as if the mind is replaying archived content rather than creating vivid new scenes. From a phenomenological point of view, dreams in black and white sit at the crossroads of perception, history, memory, and emotion. They challenge the idea that dreams are always hyper-realistic and saturated. Instead, they suggest that the dreaming brain can choose its visual style, color, monochrome, blurred, sharp, based on deeper processes we do not consciously control. In this video, we will explore this phenomenon through two main lenses: the psychological dimension, how emotion, symbolism, culture, and personal history shape whether a dream appears in color or in grayscale; the neuroscientific dimension, how the brain constructs visual imagery in sleep, and why it might sometimes omit color information while preserving form, contrast, and depth. We will also look at real research and case studies, people whose dreams shifted from color to black and white after major life changes, and those whose dreams became more colorful after emotional healing or changes in media exposure. Because in the end, black and white dreams are not just about color. They are about how the mind chooses to frame reality, even when that reality only exists behind closed eyes. To understand why some dreams appear in black and white, we have to go beyond the eye and step into the emotional logic of the mind. Dreams are not just visual simulations, they are emotional narratives, and sometimes the psyche decides that color is not the language it needs. Psychologically, black and white dreams can be seen as a kind of emotional filter. Instead of focusing on sensory richness, the mind reduces the world to contrast, light and dark, presence and absence, form and shadow. It's as if the dream is saying, don't get distracted by details. Focus on the structure, the meaning, the contrast. 1. Emotional tone and affective blunting. Many people who report monochrome dreams describe them during periods of emotional fatigue, numbness, or detachment. Life feels drained, flat, repetitive. The dream world mirrors this internal state by stripping away color, leaving only outlines and shadows. In this sense, black and white dreams can reflect emotional exhaustion, depression, or burnout. A sense of life being mechanical or on autopilot, protective emotional distance. The dream does not create color because the inner world does not feel colorful. 2. Symbolic simplification. Black and white are archetypal opposites. Yes, no, good, evil, known, unknown. When a dream adopts this monochrome style, it may be symbolically emphasizing polarity. Situations, relationships, or decisions may be felt unconsciously as all or nothing, with little room for nuance. In such dreams, the absence of color becomes meaningful. It strips away distraction and pushes the dreamer to confront underlying structures. Who is on your side? What is true versus what is illusion? What stands out when everything is reduced to light and shadow? 3. Memory and retro-aesthetic. For older generations, or anyone deeply influenced by classic cinema, black and white dreams can have a retro-psychological aesthetic. The mind borrows the visual language of old films to frame certain memories or life themes. A dream that feels like a black and white movie might represent unresolved issues from the past, nostalgia and longing, and attempt to look at one's life as a story, emotional distance, as if watching oneself from outside. The brain chooses a style that psychologically matches the content. 4. Cognitive mode, analytical versus emotional. Some theorists suggest that color-heavy dreams tend to be more emotional, sensory, and chaotic, while black and white dreams often feel more cognitive, narrative, or observational. The dreamer may feel like an observer rather than a participant. In this mode, the psyche behaves less like a painter and more like a writer or editor. The focus is on structure of events, dialogues and decisions, symbolic positions of people and objects. Color isn't needed to convey the message. The script matters more than the visuals. 5. Personal associations with color and its absence. Finally, the meaning of a black and white dream is deeply individual. For some, no color equals calm and neutrality. For others, it signals emptiness, grief, or a life that has lost its vibrancy. The key is how you feel inside the dream. Does the lack of color feel peaceful? Or does it feel like something important is missing? Psychologically, black and white dreams are not inferior or broken. They are a stylistic choice made by the unconscious, a deliberate framing device used to highlight certain truths while muting others. To understand why some dreams appear in black and white, we need to look at how the brain constructs visual reality while you sleep. Color in dreams is not a separate layer added on top of images. It is part of a complex process in which the brain recreates the world from memory, perception, and internal signals. Sometimes that process simply doesn't include color information. In waking life, color perception depends on specialized cells in the retina, cones, sending signals to visual areas in the brain, especially regions in the occipital and temporal lobes that process wavelength and assign color. But during dreaming, your eyes are closed, no light, no real colors. Everything you see is generated from inside the brain itself. During REM sleep, the primary visual cortex becomes active, along with higher-order visual association areas. These regions reconstruct scenes, faces, places, and objects using stored data. shapes, textures, movement, and sometimes color. But color processing is more complex and less essential for basic recognition. The brain can easily represent a face, a street, or a room using just luminance and contrast, light and shadow, without needing chromatic detail. There are a few key hypotheses for black and white dreams at the neural level. 1. Reduced color activation. Color perception depends on specific pathways, such as those involving area V4 and other color-sensitive regions. In some dreams, especially those that are more memory-based or concept-driven, these areas may be less active. The brain still simulates form and depth, but it does so using grayscale because that's sufficient for the narrative and recognition systems. 2. Borrowing from stored visual formats. The brain uses prior experience to build dream imagery. For people heavily exposed to black and white visual media, old films, early TV, photographs, the stored representation of certain scenes may be monochrome by default. When the brain retrieves these patterns, it reconstructs them in their original format, in shades of gray. This doesn't mean the dreamer lacks the ability to see color. It simply means the template being used is black and white. 3. Energy and resource allocation. During REM, the brain is active, but not all regions are equally engaged all the time. Some neuroscientists propose that color may be treated as non-essential detail in certain dream states. The brain economizes. It invests neural resources into emotional processing, memory integration, and scenario simulation, while skipping some high-level features like rich chromatic representation. 4. Mood and neuromodulators. Neurochemically, REM sleep is dominated by acetylcholine, with reduced levels of serotonin and noradrenaline compared to wakefulness. These chemical shifts affect not only emotion but also sensory processing. In states associated with low mood or emotional flattening, certain networks involved in reward and vividness may be downregulated, subtly influencing how bright or colorful a dream feels. A gray dream may reflect not just visual processing, but the brain's overall activation tone. 5. Structural brain differences or temporary patterns. Some people consistently report more monochrome or low-color dreams across their lives. This may reflect stable individual differences in how their visual association cortices activate during sleep. Others notice phases, periods of life when dreams feel washed out, followed by times when they are intensely colorful. This suggests that neural patterns underlying dream color are dynamic, shaped by stress, sleep quality, medication, emotional states, and daily sensory input. Ultimately, from a neuroscientific perspective, a black and white dream is not a malfunction. It is a valid mode of visual generation where the brain constructs the world using the simplest and most fundamental ingredients: light, shadow, shape, and contrast. Color is optional. The mystery is not that dreams can lack color. The mystery is that the brain can create any visual world at all, in complete darkness. Black and white dreams might sound like a poetic metaphor, but they have been studied in real laboratories across decades with results that are as surprising as they are revealing. When researchers began asking people not just what they dreamed, but how they saw their dreams, a pattern emerged that connected inner experience with culture, technology, and even history itself. In the mid-20th century, dream researchers like Calvin Hall collected tens of thousands of dream reports. When participants were asked whether their dreams were in color or black and white, a significant portion, especially adults who grew up before widespread color media, reported that many of their dreams were monochrome. For them, the dream world looked like the films and television they watched every day: grayscale, grainy, cinematic. Decades later, psychologists revisited the same question. This time, they asked younger generations raised on full-color screens. The results had shifted dramatically. The majority now reported predominantly color dreams, and black and white dreams had become less common, sometimes even rare. This generational shift suggested something profound. The visual style of dreams appears to be shaped, at least in part, by the dominant media of the era. One influential study compared people who grew up watching black and white television with those who grew up with color TV. Older participants were more likely to report frequent monochrome dreams, while younger ones overwhelmingly described their dreams as vividly colored. Importantly, this wasn't about eyesight. These were people with normal color vision in waking life. It was about internal representation. The mind had absorbed a visual language from outside and now used it to construct dream reality. Clinical observations add another layer. Therapists and sleep specialists have documented cases where patients report an increase in black and white dreams during periods of depression, emotional numbness, or psychological withdrawal. The dreams often feel distant, observational, or strangely flat, like watching one's life from the outside through an old camera lens. When the person's emotional state improves, their dreams sometimes regain color and intensity. While this is not universal, it supports the idea that emotional tone and visual vividness in dreams may be linked. There are also striking individual cases. Some people report that specific types of dreams are always in black and white. Dreams about the distant past, dreams that feel like memories rather than fantasies, dreams where they observe themselves as if in a film. Others describe transitional experiences. The dream begins in black and white and slowly gains color, often at the moment when an emotion intensifies or a realization occurs. It's as if the psyche is literally turning on color as meaning deepens. Neuropsychological reports further complicate the picture. Patients with certain brain lesions or visual processing disorders sometimes experience degraded or simplified dream imagery, including reduced color. Yet they can still recognize faces, places, and objects. This suggests that the brain's dream generator can run in multiple visual modes, full color, low color, or grayscale, depending on which networks are engaged. Even lucid dreamers, people who become aware they are dreaming and can sometimes control the dream, have reported that they can deliberately add color to a black and white dream, watching the world bloom from gray into vivid saturation. This indicates that color is not an all-or-nothing property of dreams, but a variable parameter within the brain's internal simulation. Taken together, these studies and cases reveal a fascinating conclusion. Black and white dreams are not outdated or broken. They are part of the spectrum of human dream experience, influenced by media exposure, memory style, emotional state, and neural dynamics. When you dream in black and white, your brain is not failing to generate reality. It is choosing a different aesthetic, one that may reflect your history, your feelings, and the way your mind has learned to see the world, even with your eyes closed. Imagine this. You wake from a dream that felt strangely calm, distant, almost quiet. You remember streets, faces, objects, but not a single color. Just light and shadow, gray skies, pale skin, dark silhouettes. For a moment, it doesn't feel like a loss. It feels like a choice. Black and white dreams remind us that the mind is not simply replaying reality, it is directing it. It can decide to strip the world down to its purest contrasts, removing the distraction of color to emphasize something else: structure, memory, conflict, distance, or emotion hidden beneath the surface. In grayscale dreams, the world becomes more abstract, almost symbolic. A white door, a black road, a figure standing in the gray between them. The absence of color turns every object into a sign, every shadow into a question. What are you avoiding? What are you replaying? What are you trying to see more clearly by removing everything unnecessary? Sometimes these dreams echo emotional states, the feeling that life has lost its brightness, that days are blending together, that joy is muted. Sometimes they echo history, memories formed in an era of black and white media, or an inner narrative that has always been told like an old film. And sometimes they are simply the brain economizing, using the most efficient way to represent reality while it focuses its energy on processing meaning rather than detail. But whether your dreams are drenched in color or drained of it, one thing remains constant. They are expressions of you, your experiences, your culture, your emotions, your neural wiring. When you dream in black and white, your mind isn't failing to create a world. It is choosing a different lens through which to show it to you. So the next time you wake up from a monochrome dream, don't dismiss it as empty or incomplete. Ask yourself, why did my mind choose this style tonight? What becomes clearer when the colors disappear? What contrast is my unconscious trying to highlight? Because in the end, dreams are not obligated to imitate waking life. They are free to rewrite it. Sometimes they paint with a full spectrum of color. Sometimes they sketch in shades of gray. Either way, they are always revealing something about how you see the world and how deep down the world is seeing you.